Good morning, Year 5. Today is Tuesday, the 26th of January. Our learning objective today is to write a short story. On this slide, you can see some examples of the planning sheets that we created last week. The first one here on the left is from Alexis. She's got some brilliant subheadings and very short but detailed notes to help her write her story. On the right hand side, we've got an example of a plan from Leah, which is also great. Included in this plan, we've got some clues about the witch, without saying the word witch. She's also included very similar type of structure to the same story as we read in The Witches. A few of you I noticed who sent in some of your online work. Some of you have actually written the full story already, whereas you were just meant to be writing a plan. And some of you have gone totally off piece, which is fine. And you have written the story completely not inspired by the witches. If you've done that, I want you to really focus today on thinking about how we want to write a short story similar to that of Roald Dahl in The Witches. Targets to include in your writing. So here we've got 3 tables showing the different icons for each particular group. So we'll start with green group, and you should know who you are. We've got use capital letters and full stops accurately, so that's in bold there. So you've got to be really carefully about remembering to say the sentence, say the sentence, and then write it. We've got to include the 5 W's, so the reader knows who, what, when, why, and how as well. We've got to include some descriptive language for setting and characters, and include your own imaginative ideas. Red group, very similar targets to include as green group. You've just got a couple more to think about different sentence openers so that your sentences don't always start in the same way, and to include some speech. Purple group, you've got to do the same as the above groups, but also think really carefully about your different clauses. So we've practiced these a lot in school. We've got your subordinate clauses and your relative clauses. Practice those time and time again. So have a good think of those and how you could include them in your writing. Using your plan helps you include the 5 W's. So including the 5 W's is a target for all children. So look back at your plan and read through your short story. So you've got your characters, the setting where it takes place, how does the witch turn the child into ... whatever that is, how does your character transform, how does your character's family react, and what happens in the future. So that's the structure of your story there, which will help you form your paragraphs in your short story. Descriptive language. This is really important in story writing because we want the reader to be able to imagine in their mind where the story is happening, what the characters look like, and how the action looks as well. How could you describe the witch? Remember, we don't want to say the word witch in your short story. We want to keep the reader guessing as to who this character is. Think about her appearance. So you can think about her eyes, her hair, her body shape, and how does her body move. On this slide, we're going to read through the different sentences, and you are going to magpie some of the words, phrases that you think you could include in your writing. First sentence, her tall, lanky limbs scuttled round the corner as she beamed with joy. Okay, so we've got a noun phrase there. Wonder if anybody can spot the noun phrase. Tall, lanky limbs. Remember, noun phrases are adjectives or 2 adjectives followed by a noun. Then we've got some verbs in there. Wonder if you can spot the 2 verbs in there. First verb, we've got scuttled, and the next one, beamed. Quite like this word scuttled. It sounds like she's acting like a bit of an animal. She knows that she's done something wrong and she's scuttling away like an ant. Round the corner as she beamed with joy. So she's clearly proud of herself for giving the child whatever she gave them so that they turn into something gruesome. Next sentence. She looked like a skeleton as she stooped over the small, innocent children. I'm just going to highlight this phrase here. I wonder if you can remember what this descriptive technique is. She looked like a skeleton. What is that word like telling us? Have a little think. Begins with an S. It's a simile. Okay, so she looked like a skeleton. Again, we've got another example of a noun phrase there. And the verb to stoop, stooped over. This next sentence starts in a different way. So the first two sentences there started with a pronoun, her and she. This third sentence starts straight off with an adjective. Sharp vertical lines burrowed into her skin as she glared at the children. So this witch has got some deep set wrinkles. She's getting angry as she sees the children playing in the park or playing on the lawn. So another way to think about your different sentence openers is actually to start with the adjective. Another example of this here, we've got purple flames appeared in her eyes as she saw Bolveg bite into the apple. Here you'll notice we've got a subordinating conjunction. So we're extending that sentence there. Doesn't have a comma next to it because the subordinating conjunction has not started at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, oh, another simile opener here. Like a hawk, her eyes and nose darted towards the children playing in the park. So they didn't just move, they darted. Like a hawk, another simile there. A good verb here. So you don't need to write down all of the sentences, but you might magpie some of those different words, phrases, or you might think about using that conjunction as in your writing. Okay. Have a little look at that sentence with the conjunction in. How could we change it, the position of the as, so that the subordinating clause starts at the beginning? Have a think, how could we do that? So the way to do that is to take your subordinating conjunction and move it, the whole clause, to the start. So, as she saw Bolveg bite into the apple, comma, purple flames appeared in her eyes. How does your character transform? This should be a whole paragraph. Here we've got two examples of how somebody has written this. First one is very boring and not detailed enough. It says Langhild turned into a pig. We want to make this, a whole paragraph, including as many targets as we can. So let's read through and see if you can spot some of the targets. So you might want to get the targets in front of you so you can have a little look at them. So we've got, after eating the bacon, Langhild started to feel something very strange on her bottom. So here we've started with, oh, I'll use a different coloured pen. Just going to rub that out, sorry, you can't really see the writing underneath. After eating bacon, so we started with a different sentence opener, a subordinate clause opener. After eating bacon, Langhild started to feel something very strange on her bottom. Without warning, a curly pigtail sprouted from her bum cheek. So again, we started with a different sentence opener. We've got some description. We've got a nice verb there to describe what's happening to poor Langhild. Her sister screamed, "What's that?" So look closely at the speech here. So we've got inverted commas, capital letters, the speech, punctuation before the final set of inverted commas. New line for new speaker coming up. Turning round in the mirror, Langhild opened her mouth to let out a scream, but instead she said, "Oink!" Within the next 5 minutes, Langhild's arms and legs sprouted pig's legs. Her nose grew longer and became very wet, and her skin turned into a very pale pink. By the end of the morning, Langhild was a fully formed pig. So just with yourself there, have a little look. or if you're in school with the person sitting next to you, or with your adult at home, have a little look at those different sentence openers there, and also some of the different description that you could include. So when you come to write your character transforming, we don't want to see just a basic sentence, Langhill turned into a pig. We want a fully formed paragraph with as many targets as possible included. Write your short story. What should you have in front of you? So you should have your plan, any magpied words, phrases or sentence openers, and your specific targets for which group you're in. You also could have a Google tab open for a thesaurus if you want to think of some more adventurous words. You could have some images up of witches from Roald Dahl's The Witches from the text to make you see some of their appearance a little bit better, just to help you create that picture in the reader's mind. Check and edit your story. When you finish writing your short story, you need to go back and read it out loud to yourself and ask, does it all make sense? Have you missed out a word? Is the sentence structure not quite right? Have a little look at that. The best way to do that is, again, reading it out loud. Next one, check for basic punctuation. So your capital letters, full stops, the basics. Remember, I should see capital letters for names and places as well. Don't miss that out. A common error that I noticed last time in your writing was forgetting the comma either after an adverbial opener or for clauses. Check your speech is punctuated accurately. So what you can do is go back to the previous slides and look how I punctuated the speech in the little extract there. Have you included all your targets? So go back through to your target sheet and scan through. Yes, I've got the 5 W's. Yes, I've got descriptive language. Got a little bit of speech. I'm noticing that every sentence starts with she or her. I might think about magpieing some of the sentence openers that I've seen and switch those around a little bit. Okay, so good luck, and I look forward to reading all of these stories later on today.